Hey everybody, this is Reed from TriviaMaker, and right now we're going to go through how to make a list style game using TriviaMaker.com. And we'll go ahead and pull this up here, and we're going to launch TriviaMaker. And once I'm logged in, I'll be able to go and see my games, but I'm going to go ahead and create a new game. So you see right here, you could go create game, or you could also click over here where it says create new quiz. Let's try that. So then we get to choose what style do we want, and today we're going to go with a list style, and this is where they try to name the top answers to a question that you put out there. So when this pops up, we have different styles we can choose from, different themes: Christmas, Valentine's, Easter, fall. But right now we're just going to go with the standard, and then we'll probably go in and customize it ourselves. So we'll just come up with a basic name here. So we're going to call this list 1. All right, and then right here you have the option to give a description, kind of remind yourself why you did this, or describe it to somebody else that might be interested in downloading it. And then you have these other toggles right here: downloadable and discoverable. So I'm going to talk about these real quick. Discoverable is basically making your game a public game that will show up in the public list of games so that people can click on and play your games. And then the one above it is downloadable, and what that means is that once people find your game in the list, then they can actually click and copy it and make their own copy of the game, which means that it's different, which means you change yours, it won't change theirs, but they also are going to change their copy and it won't change yours. And so basically, making it downloadable is making your game available as a template for other people to take it, download what you have, and then make their changes based on what they want without affecting yours. So that is what discoverable and downloadable are all about. We'll click next right here. Alright, so here we have our preview screen, which is basically where we get to edit, we get to add in the questions, we get to add in the answers, we get to change the colors, music, all we want to do like that. So for our sake, what we'll do is we will go down here and we'll keep public off, downloadable off, like I talked about. That's not the right fit for this game. You have these other options. You can add it to a collection, you can share it, you can clone, so that way if you have maybe you want 2 copies of very similar games, maybe one is for one class and another is for another class, and you want them basically the same but a little bit different, it's a great way to just copy it rather than starting all over to make these similar presentations. Then you can print it, where you can print out the answers, and this is actually really helpful. We'll talk about this later, but this is really helpful if you're using the basic mode where you're just sharing your screen, because especially in the list type of a game, you don't know where to click. Maybe somebody shouts out the answer is California, and you know what's on there, but you don't know exactly where it's at in your list. And so having a printout is really helpful. The other option is to use the controller and the presenter, where you have the answers on one screen and then the answers on the other screen. But that's a little bit more complicated. So printing it out is a great way to go if you're just hosting a game with your computer and you want a little printout so you can know where the answers are. So that's why you would print it, and then you can delete the game there as well. Let's look at our content, so we can go ahead and add this. The list games are set up in rounds, and so each round consists of 1 question with up to 8 answers. So let's go ahead and we'll edit our first round. So for this one, let's come up with like a top answer type of a question. So how about name a superpower, right? Name something that's like a common superpower. Then you can decide how many answers you want. How about we'll go with 6. And we'll go ahead and enter the answers here, and we'll just do like strength. And we can decide here how many points we want these to be worth. We have it set by default to be 100, 90, 80, counting down by 10 with each less question. But you can change those however you want. So let's go with the next question. Speed. How about laser vision? How about flying? And how about, let's just go with 4. 4 is a good number. Strength, speed, laser vision, and flying. So then we save that. Okay, so we've put in our first question. Let's go ahead and add in another question right here. So once we get that question in there, we're going to go ahead and click on this little edit button, and we'll go right here. And we're just going to say this. How about name a football team? Whoops. How about this? So how about this? Name a football team that is based off of a bird. How about that? Okay, and then we'll just go in here, and I think that there are 5 of them. So we'll just go here. We'll just go Seahawks, right? And just so you know, like, yeah, we'll go Seahawks. And then we'll go the Eagles. And then we'll go Falcons and Cardinals and the Ravens, right? So we're saving all 5 of these teams. Put that in there. So we've just added in 2 questions, but let's say you wanted to add in a bunch more. You can also do this where you prefer to edit with a spreadsheet. You click that, and then what this is going to do, this is going to give you a CSV, which is like a simplified Excel spreadsheet. So you download the template, follow the instructions, fill out the columns just right, and then you come back here once you save that and then upload it, and that will then import all your questions and your answers, which is really helpful if you have a lot to add in there. Keep in mind you can only add in up to 16 questions or 16 rounds per game, but you can create as many list games as you want to. So for this one, we just did 2, and so we'll go ahead and we'll make sure that that is saved. I always like clicking on save as many times as I can just to make sure that it's there. With customizations, we've talked about this in a lot of other places, but we'll just leave it as is right now. So you can put in the font color, you can change the button color, you can change the background color, you can change the logos, you can change the backgrounds, you can change the song. I'm not going to change that right now. We have whole videos. Just look how to customize a game, and you can find our tutorials on how to do that. And then the settings, we'll go ahead and make sure we want to use the scoreboard. So we've added in our teams. We could have changed the content or the customization we wanted to. We added in our rounds. Then what we'll do right here is we'll just go ahead and click on play. And just at the share option, if you wanted to share this, you can click this and you'll get a hyperlink. It says it's copied right there. Or you can actually just grab it from the address bar up above and copy and paste that. Or you can share it with this little thing right there. But let's go ahead and launch this. And here it's giving us 3 options. And so we have the option to just do the basic game, which is basically we're going to mirror exactly what we see on our screen is what the audience is going to see, which is a great option for virtual things and simple presentations. Then we could do controller and presenter, which is basically the option of we have 2 devices or 2 different screens, and on one screen, one device, it shows us, the host, the answer, but on their device, they're not seeing the answer. And that's really handy, especially if you're doing it live, or if you happen to have 2 devices that you can use, but it's a little more complicated. We have a whole tutorial on presenter mode as well. And then the third option is casting to a TV app, and again, that's similar as using the control and the presenter, but right now we'll just go ahead and go with the basic. All right, so there we go. You can hear a little theme music going on. You can always turn that off if you want to. Click that mute button right there, and that will shut that down. Just going through what these different icons are. You have the theme button, which we talked about. You have like an applause. If somebody gives a great answer, you can hit that, or if somebody gives a great answer and it's not on the board, hit the sad thing. And then you have these X's, which you can put up there if somebody gives like the wrong answer. You know, 1X, and then you have 2X, and you can see how it's indicating right here. And if you want to take one of those X's off, you just hit this -X button, and then it goes back to like 1 like that. And we have a pretty new fun feature, which is just the ability to bring up like an emoji, and we're going to be adding new emojis on here all the time. There's something a little extra fun, just to throw that out there for the participants. So here's where we go. We can go, if we want to launch round 1, we would make sure everybody's ready. If we divide into teams, everybody knows where they're at. And then here's what we do. Go ahead and bring up round 1 and name a superpower, right? And so there's different ways that you might gather the answers on this. You might say, okay, team 1, you go first, give us an answer. And let's say that they say flying, right? And so they say flying, there we are. It's right there. And so it's a little bit difficult. That's why I couldn't see where it was. That's why sometimes having the printout or having the 2 devices, one that shows you the controller and the other the presenter. So it's just hard to remember. You know the answers, but it's hard to remember where they are. That's why having a printout is better. But so let's say they get that right, and there's different ways to score this. You could either say, okay, team 1, you got that right, so we're just going to give team 1 these points right here. Or you can play that you pass or play, you have 2 main people come up, and you decide who gets the higher answer, and then team 1 can decide if they want to pass it or if they want to play it, or things like that. So then you can say, okay, all team 1, you're trying to get all of the answers before you get 3 wrong. And if you get 3 wrong, then that means that team 2, whoever else, gets a chance to come there and try to steal it. But I think when you're going with multiple teams, especially more than 2, probably the best way to play this is just go down the line and say, okay, team 1, give me an answer and see if it's up there. And then say, team number 2, give me an answer and see if it's up there. Team 3, and then just if they get it right, then you just give them each their points. Let's say somebody from team 2 shouts out super speed, and you're like, boom, there it is, speed, right? So you go ahead and you could give these points to team 2. All right. So you might be wondering what this little red eraser thing does. All that is going to do is, like, let's say it puts points on the board and, oh, we messed up, somebody saw it, if you want to clear that out, you can clear that and then it won't be used. So then we say one more thing up there, what could it be? And somebody says, you know, super strength, and it's team 3. And you're right, all right, team 3, you got it. And you give the points to them, go to team 3, and you can move on. If at any point you want to give extra points to somebody, you can go up here and go plus down by 100, right? So if you want to kind of give them some extra, I don't know if it's a classroom and maybe a team is working really well together, or maybe they're not working well and you want to take points away, you can always adjust the scores manually like that. So we finished this round. Let's go back to the main board. We use this icon right here. We'll go back to the main board, and then we'll launch round 2. So it says round 2. I can click here, or I can click, you know, on the question up here if I want to. But let's go round 2, click. Name a football team that is based off a bird. And somebody shouts out, Seahawks. All right, there we go. Give the points to whichever team said it, right? So then you come to the very end, and after you've cleared the whole board and finished it, you can click on this trophy icon and bring up a congratulatory screen for the winning team. So check this out. All right, congratulations, team 1. You guys won with 170 points. So guys, that is how you make a list type game here in TriviaMaker. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to send us an email at support@triviamaker.com or check out the other tutorials. Thanks a lot.